So Ambassador Thor, thank you very much for inviting us, and the Digital Economy Forum as well. And also thank you to all of you for attending too. We're the country managers at carpooling.com. We're now a team of 40 international people based in Munich. Daniela is responsible for the carpooling.it website, and I look after the English site. So our job, we're basically responsible for growing the user base for each of our sites. And we've heard from many of the speakers so far about how many founders meet at university, often 2 of them. In our case, it was actually 3, and they did meet at a German university. And what we're hoping is that we'll be able to tell you the success story with some concrete examples so that you'll be able to kickstart your startup as well. So it was actually an idea that was dreamt up in a university bar, which has now grown to a company with a website which receives more than 2 million unique visitors every month. So we know that every great business needs to provide a product or a service that solves a problem. So Daniela is going to explain to you the problems that our service solves.
I guess there are some problems with the presentation, so probably if we can fix them.
Great. Okay.
Well, there are now over 1 billion cars on the planet, and in 78% of the case, trips in car are made alone. That means that there is an enormous underused resource of free car seats every day. That's logical. More cars cause more congestion, more pollution, and furthermore, in some countries like Italy now, people are facing rising petrol and public transport prices. Well, this kind of problem are not just Italian, are not just European, but they are global and faced by everyone. And carpooling.com solves all these problems all at the same time.
So basically, our website is a hub. It's a hub for people who want to travel together. The reasons that they want to travel together are very different. It could be they want to reduce their transport costs, particularly as petrol prices are increasing. They might want to reduce their carbon footprint, or perhaps they just want to meet some interesting people along the ride. What's clear is that it's really popular, and over 1 million people were transported with our platform in last month alone. So the concept of carpooling is not known to everyone, so I just want to give a very brief example so that everyone understands how it works. So for example, this weekend I'm traveling between Rome and Milan. I'm going for business, or perhaps to meet friends, or maybe my new exciting Italian boyfriend. And I have a car, so I'm intending on driving, but because petrol prices are so expensive, I have some spare seats in my car. So I register on the carpooling website, I enter the details of my trip, so where I'm traveling from and where I'm going to, and the time I'm intending on making my trip. I enter how many seats are free. On the other hand, Daniela is a passenger. She doesn't own a car. And she doesn't really fancy catching the train, but she'd like the comfort and convenience of going in the car. So she also goes on the website and she enters the criteria for the lift she's looking for. She manages to find me on the site, and we connect with each other. We've introduced a booking system as well on our platform, which means that it's exactly the same as booking a seat on a train. You can literally book a car seat in a carpool.
Yeah, and also we have a reputation for a great product. For example, our iPhone app got 4.5 stars out of 5 in the user rating, and in only last month we managed to have a transaction of $200 million that have been made through our platform.
So what is it that makes us unique? We've heard a lot, even from the beginning presentation, about knowing your competitors and knowing the marketplace. Well, it's certainly our scale. We've managed to replicate our product in 9 different countries and 7 different languages. We're definite that it's this internationalization which has been really key for us to develop our user base. So the service started in 2001 with 3 partners, and Their marketing activities at that stage were very different to how they are now. They were literally handing out flyers and posters in the university canteen at lunchtime, and they managed really well. They got 10,000 registered users in their first year, but we've managed to grow this now with some additional marketing activity to 3.6 million. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that we've done this with a very limited marketing budget, and we'd like to give you some tips on how we've achieved it.
Well, in order to build your user base, you need to recognize the market variation. Today was already said that it's important to recognize that every country is different. Have, for example, look at this picture. It's a really amazing advertisement campaign made by HSBC Bank. That's an international company with almost 100 million customers around the world. And in this advertising campaign, they really show the knowledge of the market they are working in by just using simple images, simple words that make you evaluate your perception of things. Many internet campaigns have made the mistake of having a great product that works very well in one country, and in order to grow the user base, they just translated it and launched in other markets. Well, at Carpooling.com, we avoided it. We didn't just translate our product into various languages. We tried to focus on tailored communication, and we account for a cultural difference. We think that to get mass users, you have to go international. But to go international, you have to understand that the marketplace in finite detail. At the Carpooling.com, for example, we are a native speaker for each market, and we really know that if something works very well in one country, won't necessarily work in another.
So take a look at this picture. This picture actually caused a really big debate in our office. I'll be honest, Daniela and I hated it. But our social community manager wanted to post it on all of our Facebook pages for every different country to test it and see what happened. And I admit it, we were really wrong. In the UK alone, it received 2,000 likes, 500 shares, and 200 comments as well. So what I think it's really key to take out of this is you need to listen to your users, and we know that social media is really important. It doesn't matter what size the company is, whether it's big or small, you need to integrate it into your marketing activities. It's a free way to reach millions of people, and it's never limited by budget. It's literally just limited by your own creativity.
And yeah, at Carpooling.com, as Abby said, social media marketing, it's a really powerful tool. We have for every country a Facebook fan page all around. It's we have for example, only in Facebook, 100,000 fans. And we use social media to communicate daily with our user, and we try to define our social strategy, just hearing what the user like and what they don't like.
Okay, so this is our company newspaper. I think there are very few people on the planet who wouldn't like their 5 minutes of fame. And we decided that in order to encourage new users to consider carpooling as an option, the best people to tell them that it's a good idea is our current users. So basically, we asked our existing users to share their carpooling, car sharing stories, and we were literally inundated with tales, really interesting, exciting stories. And we created this newspaper and distributed it. We've also got interviews with the founders and sort of partnership with Airbnb. And it generated a real interest and buzz around the brand. If you remember only one thing from our presentation, it's that you have to put the users at the center of everything. We always listen really carefully, particularly to our early adopters, because ultimately their feedback is going to shape what you do with the product, and that's what makes it brilliant.
What's the next? Well, tailored communication. When we communicate with our user, we tried always to do something that the content really reflects the country they are designed for. For example, 1 year ago we launched our iPhone app, and the content of the PR was very different in Germany compared to Italy. In the German PR was very short, focused on the feature of the iPhone app, but in Italy we have still to explain what's carpooling, what are the benefits of carpooling, and the PR was a little bit longer and were more detailed in it.
So it's obviously really important to get people to your website in order to get them to sign up to your service. We don't want to teach you to suck eggs. However, it's obviously really important when you're talking about user base growing to mention search engine marketing. And we use this at carpooling.com. I'll give you an example. What we're doing is we're trying to encourage people who are traveling from Rome to Milan or vice versa, instead of automatically just thinking about getting the train, to consider carpooling as an alternative option. So we use really simple text ads on search marketing in order to be able to raise the brand awareness of the service that we provide. There's one really important thing to remember, and that's to make sure that you know the local market really well. So for example, just the very basics of what carpooling is. In the UK where I grew up, carpooling is known as car sharing. In Germany, it's known as Mitfahrzentrale. In America, it's ride sharing, and in Italy, I shall say it with my best Italian accent, it's passaggio. So it's really important to recognize these key differences in order to be able to drive people to your site and therefore get them to sign up.
Well, you have a great product, thousands of fans acting as ambassador, you do tailored communication, SEM. What's next? We recommend using smart marketing tools. We, for example, have designed a website widget that's really easy to integrate and allow partners to offer their clients a further service. And for us, it's a really nice and easy way to raise our brand awareness, to reach a new target audience, and at the end, it's really a mutual beneficial partnership that it's good for us and for our partners.
So just to sum up, with a very limited marketing budget, Carpooling.com has become the leading international smart mobility provider. We've done this by growing our user base by spreading internationally. And to spread internationally, we've had to take care of 6 key points. We've had to treat each market in its own right, communicate with them independently. We need to, we've looked at and looked after communicating with our early adopters so that they can influence the product in itself. We've built a community using social media, creating a buzz around the brand. We've then used search engine marketing in order to broaden that target group and raise the awareness of the product. And then finally, we've used some smart marketing tools such as our website widget.
Well, we want to say many thanks to the embassy for hosting such a great event. It's also a really nice occasion for us to announce that we will be launching in America in the half part of this year. And we want to thank you all everyone for your attention, and we wish you success in growing the user base for your company.
Thanks. So I think this audience is a good fit for your company. Consider that most of them are start-uppers, so willing to share, willing to connect and network with other people. Carpooling is also a good opportunity to meet new people. So to be sure, I have one question. To be sure they sign up, how many people got married through carpooling?
It's an interesting question. We know of 10 couples who've met through our platform who've actually got married, and I think three children. 3 children, so yeah.
Cool.
So if your dating site's not working, then...
It's a good feature. Any question from the audience? I can't see at all. There's a question there.
Hello, Nanad from DN Capital. How many users do you have, active users per month, and how many transactions, or are you allowed to say anything about that?
Yeah, sure. So we have almost all of our 3.6 million registered users are active each month. I mean, it depends on the market as well. It's dependent on whether people are using it for commuting or whether they're using it for ad hoc. Given we've got 9 different markets, it's hard to give you a broad statement. And sorry, the second part of the question
So like how many rides per
transactions.
month is getting done? How
Sorry.
many rides per month is on average?
We have 600,000 available.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Excellent. And how about growth rates?
Sorry, I didn't hear the
Growth
question.
rates?
Growth rates. Well, it depends on the market again. Germany is definitely our leading market, and the growth rate's been really strong in that area. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because for example, yeah, in Italy it was like really new, a new subject. I mean, nobody knows carpooling. For example, in Italy, in 2 years, we have a growth of 250%, but it depends. Like French and Germany.
I think it's 300 in France, 300% year on year, and it's about 250 in the UK.
Last question. How do you manage any potential conflicts? Like what happens if, you know, a woman gets attacked in a car or something? Like how are you screening these people to make sure there's no crazy people?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because we often get asked it as well. And naturally, security is something that's really important to us as well. We have a number of different mechanisms. First of all, we've got a customer care team who deal with any issues. Additionally, we have there's the option for a user to authenticate their profile, which means they can send in their either ID card if it's Germany or wherever, or driving license in the UK, and then our team validate it, and you can have an icon on your profile which demonstrates that you're a validated user. Now, we also
booking system.
Yeah, we also have a booking system which allows users to rate each other exactly as they would do if it was Amazon or whatever, which means that when you're selecting the lift, you can see the profile of your driver and decide, is that the sort of driver that I'd like to travel with? And just one final point on that, in the 10 years that we've been around, we've actually never had any serious issues at all. Most of the issues are people who've lost their mobile phone, left their sleeping bag in the boot of the car or something like that, or they've met someone nice and they'd like the number of that.
Yes, it happens.
Grazie. Di nuovo, mi sa che le domande le possiamo tenere per... abbiamo un'ultima domanda? Sona.
So the prior speaker asked was one of my questions. I guess like when you think about as you try to scale your business outside of these geographies, even like a place like U.S. where I'm from, what do you think are the biggest risks to you guys achieving scale? Are there regulatory risks? Are there payment risks? I mean, there's a company in the U.S. that doesn't do exactly what you do, but is focused more on taxi sharing, so Uber. And some of the issues they've had in the U.S. is that they've gotten a lot of pushback from the taxi drivers or other people who viewed this business as competitive. So I'm curious if you could talk a bit, what do you think the biggest risks are?
So, of course, the risk essentially is the risk of fail. There's been quite a failure. A lot of people have spoken about that already. In terms of the timeline of the products that we've launched, the majority of the websites we launched were actually in 2010. It's the German one that originates from 2001. And we've succeeded. We've noticed an immediate interest in all of the markets we've launched in. With regards to, we get different backing from different governments or different institutions in each market. So it's very different for each one. We have backing from the Spanish government for our Spanish site. So things like that are always very valuable in raising the profile of the concept of what we're doing. And with regards to other modes of transport, I mean, ultimately it's a business and everyone's in competition with each other. And naturally we're going to have people who feel threatened by the service we provide. But ultimately, if our users decide to use us because we can reduce transport costs and carbon dioxide emissions, then that's their choice.
Thank you. Thanks.